If you're a player, you have to hate the collectors. And if you're a collector, you don't even play the game, right? Or does it have to be that sharply divided? Let's dive into that in this video.
We made this video and there were a lot of really nice reactions actually, and also some comments we hadn't expected, and that made us think, is there really this great divide between players and collectors? It seemed like a lot of players just wanted to have the cards as cheaply as possible, and there was a great antipathy against cards being too expensive. Of course, we don't want cards to be too expensive either, but we would like to have cards to actually retain some kind of value. When we say that we would like cards to actually retain some kind of value, what we mean by that is that we don't want to have these big collections where cards are worth absolutely nothing, because a lot of Magic cards aren't worth a dime. Couldn't a few cards actually hold up some kind of value without them having to be the next reprint target to pad the lining of Wizards' pockets?
I also think that was part of the point, because if you see us replying in the comment section, it's usually me. And one of the points is the cards aren't cheap right now because Wizards wants every player to have a lot of cheap cards and have fun. They're cheap because they want to sell a lot of product, and if they want to sell a lot of product, they're printing a lot of stuff. So everything gets printed into the ground and nothing really holds value. And again, when we talk about holding value, we're not saying every great card should be $500. We're saying maybe it would be okay if we have like some of the rarest mythic that at least are over $2. And then again, maybe it would be okay if some of the mythics that are really highly playable or highly sought after are like above $10 to $15, and then get like the additional reprint. And maybe an even smaller pool of card could be above $25 and up. Maybe that's okay. And I think if you have a look, at least when we're going through our collection, we can see that most of our cards are not worth anything. Finding a card that's over $5, so you actually, bother to put it up for sale or try to trade it for the cards that you're looking for, that's only the minority. The majority of Magic cards, both old and new, are actually really cheap. Most of them at least.
And we think this is actually a kind of nice balance, because we are players too, and we have lots of decks, and we have lots of cards in these decks.
He has too many.
Yeah, I have too many decks, but many of my decks aren't worth a damn, because they are just being put together from cards that I really like to play with. And I have a lot of fun with these cards, and I like it that way. What I don't like is that when I go out and buy some of these cards, because sometimes you need to have that special card in your deck, and I don't like to see that investment, because it is actually an investment if you buy something that just dilutes into nothing. So what I would like is that cards retain some kind of value, so that if I at some point think, okay, I'm not playing my sliver deck anymore, I would like to sell that, have some cash come into my pockets, and use those cash to buy new cards. That should be a possibility for me. Just as well, if you buy just around anything else, you can sell it on a second-hand market. You can sell for maybe 50% of its value. And I think cards should retain some kind of value in the same way that other goods do.
So I would consider myself both a collector and a player. We play a lot of Magic together, we play with our kids, and we occasionally also get some time to play with our friends. And maybe even once in a while down the LGS, but not that often. That's what happens when you have too much adulting to do. I also collect stuff because I like the cards, not necessarily because they have a lot of value. I have like the unofficial largest Goblin collection, just as Jens, and they're not worth a lot. I have a few pieces that have some value, but most of them are just like below $1. And I have them because I love them. I love the art, I love the flavor, and I just enjoy a lot of these, especially older cards, because they hold a lot of like sentimental value and nostalgia to me, but not necessarily to anybody else. So that's not something that I don't want to part with it, but if I wanted to sell it, I would never get any value out of it. And I think that's fine. Collect what you love, play what you love, and that's what I'm doing with this unofficial largest Goblin collection in Denmark. If you're a player and you play decks and you have more than one, and if you've been playing for a while, you're participating in some sealed events, some draft, slowly but surely you're going to be a collector, because you're building a collection organically of cards that you've been playing with. And I don't think that's a nasty or a bad word. For me, there's like a definition where you have players, you have collectors, and maybe like an investor or whale that has a really large position of cards, sealed product, all these kinds of things. But if you're just like us, a small-time collector, you're not going to move any market shares. You're just collecting the cards that you enjoy. The only reason we have a big collection is because both Jens and I started playing as like young teens, young kids, and we've been playing a lot all through the years. So naturally, we've accumulated a lot of cards.
Most players are also collectors. If you have a few decks and you have a binder, well, lo and behold, you're a collector too. There is not this big hard divide between collectors and players. We are one and the same group.
And we all enjoy Magic.
Yeah. And I think actually it's hurtful to see that on the internet, on Facebook, where people are trying to sell their collections, you can see people that have invested a lot of money, they have had their fun with the Magic, they have played a lot of games, and they have actually accumulated some kind of large collection over time. And then they're maybe done with it, maybe they are, you know, having a family, having kids, don't have time to play Magic anymore, and they love these cards, and then they think, okay, I'm going to sell my cards now, they're going to find a better home where someone is going to have a lot of fun with them. And then they found out all this money they have invested into their hobby are lost. They cannot sell this collection for anything. And that is a bitter taste in the mouth after having a lot of fun, after having spent a lot of money collecting a card game, to find out that, yeah, well, your collection is worthless.
And when we say invest, we don't mean like they've, you know, bought every Power 9 card. We're just talking about they have like the odd fetch land and maybe some good cards, maybe some stable cards that used to be worth more, but they're not anymore. And I don't think it's realistic to expect to like have a huge increase and make money on your cards. But it would be nice if you're done with your time for playing that you could actually sell your collection and expect to have a little bit of cash back for all the money that you put into it because you really just love playing. I think instead of perpetuating this false dichotomy between players and collectors, let's see if we can't find some common ground, because most of us are actually both. And most of us just enjoy playing Magic and have a small collection on the side, or a larger collection, but still just enjoy the game and love the game of Magic. So let's just try and find the common ground and not be so easily, you know, upset. We don't have to pick a camp, we can be both. If you're also interested in knowing all about the new set Phyrexia or Will Be One, have a look up there and see our latest video.
If you like this video, leave a comment and like and subscribe. Tell us what format you're playing and tell us what you like to collect.
See you in the next video.
Au revoir.